The man's hands still trembled slightly as he processed what had just happened. 2 law enforcement officers standing at his bedroom door, his half-sister hovering behind them with an expression that mixed concern with something he couldn't quite name. She'd unlocked his bedroom door, his private space in the apartment they'd been sharing for barely 3 weeks, and invited police inside to conduct a wellness check on him without his knowledge or consent. 2 months ago, he'd finally escaped a relationship so toxic it had driven him to substances he'd never imagined needing. Drinking became routine. Xanax helped numb the edges. Weed and edibles were the only way to quiet his mind enough to sleep while living in an environment that felt like emotional warfare. Those substances weren't solutions. He knew that. But they were survival mechanisms when survival felt like the only goal worth achieving. His ulcerative colitis, a chronic inflammatory bowel disease, had spiraled during those dark months. Stress exacerbated the condition mercilessly, and the toxic relationship provided stress in endless supply. His body bore the evidence. Severe anemia that left him pale as paper. Weakness that made simple tasks feel mountainous. Exhaustion that seeped into his bones and wouldn't leave. When his half-sister offered to sign a lease with him, a 50-50 split on rent and utilities that would finally allow him to start saving money again, instead of hemorrhaging 70% of his salary to housing while juggling car payments, insurance, phone bills, and now alimony. It felt like a lifeline. Someone who cared enough to help him rebuild from the wreckage of his previous life. For 3 weeks, they'd cohabitated peacefully. She could see his physical condition, the pallor of his skin, the way he moved carefully like someone conserving limited energy. He'd been transparent about his health, telling her about his scheduled hospital appointment on Monday for an iron infusion to address the severe anemia. Medical intervention was planned and imminent, but apparently waiting until Monday wasn't acceptable. Today, without warning or discussion, 2 police officers appeared at his bedroom door for a wellness check his sister had initiated. She'd actually unlocked his door, violated the basic privacy of his rented space to grant them access. The officers, to their credit, quickly recognized that he was within his rights to refuse care. They saw a man who was clearly unwell, but also clearly capable of making his own medical decisions. Within 10 minutes, they left, their presence more awkward than helpful. The confrontation afterward burned hotter than his earlier anger. "Why did you do this?" he asked, his voice carrying the weight of betrayal mixed with exhaustion. "Because I love you," she said, her eyes welling with tears. "I won't watch you die." The dramatic declaration felt disproportionate to reality. Yes, he was anemic. Yes, he looked terrible. Yes, his ulcerative colitis was poorly managed after months of stress. But he was acutely aware of his condition's severity and its limitations. He knew he needed treatment, hence the Monday appointment, but he also knew he wasn't on death's doorstep. There's a vast difference between needing medical intervention and being in imminent danger of dying. He'd tried to explain the progress he'd made, hoping she'd see reason. The pills were gone, Xanax completely kicked. The weed was gone. Edibles abandoned. He'd literally pissed clean on a home drug test the other night, marking the first time in over a decade he could claim sobriety from marijuana. That achievement felt monumental, a testament to his commitment to rebuilding his life properly. But he couldn't lie about everything. 4 shots of alcohol each night remained his sleep aid, the last habit he hadn't conquered yet. Not ideal, certainly not healthy, but also not the catastrophic spiral his sister seemed to imagine. Her response demolished any hope for understanding. "You've made my life like the movie Leaving Las Vegas." She was referencing a film about watching someone drink themselves to death, comparing his situation to terminal alcoholism requiring passive observation of someone's demise. The comparison felt absurd and insulting. 4 shots nightly while managing chronic illness and rebuilding from toxic relationships wasn't the same as the desperate suicidal drinking depicted in that film. He was functioning, working, paying bills, keeping appointments, making genuine progress towards sobriety. He wasn't dissolving into an alcohol-induced death spiral, but his sister saw what she wanted to see. A dying brother who needed saving from himself, consequences and privacy violations justified by love. Now he sat in the aftermath, his mind spinning through impossible calculations. She'd given him the financial breathing room to rebuild his life, signing a lease when he couldn't afford solo housing without sacrificing savings entirely. That generosity mattered. But she'd also violated his privacy, called police on him, unlocked his bedroom door, and compared his recovery journey to watching someone commit slow suicide. Love and violation intertwined so tightly he couldn't separate them. Was her action forgivable because her intentions were protective? Or was boundary violation unforgivable regardless of motivation? Could he cut off someone who'd extended genuine help, even if that help came wrapped in controlling behavior that stripped away his autonomy? Was this sister's wellness check a justified act of love for someone clearly struggling, or an unforgivable violation of privacy and autonomy? When someone is recovering from addiction and managing chronic illness, where's the line between helpful intervention and controlling behavior? Should he forgive her actions because her intentions were good, or set firm boundaries even if it means losing her support?